Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Yes, we are on the Leaders World, and today is special because we have someone who is not a stranger to us. But if you think you know him, you don't, because he is coming today with a lot of value, and you want to share this already with your friends. Who is he? Today we have Dr. Rukewe with us, and he is a leadership development and team building expert, a Maxwell Leadership Executive Director, a certified transformational leadership speaker, coach, trainer, a learning and development specialist, and a Maxwell certified disc behavioral analysis consultant and trainer. He is a physician and was a medical educator at Windsor University School of Medicine based in St. Kitts and Nevis. He was also the director of the university's health-based community service arm, that's the Students for Health organization, which regularly offered free health screenings to the Federation citizens. He is deeply passionate about transformational leadership development and team building, and that's why he's here with us today. He firmly believes in the Maxwell leadership philosophy that says everything rises and falls on leadership, and it takes teamwork to make the dream work. He has spoken at different platforms and has touched people by coaching, training, and helping leaders from diverse industries maximize and sustain the output of their companies. He is also passionate about personal development mindset and living a life of audacious faith based on the word of God. Outside his work, he is a fitness enthusiast who loves connecting with new people and visiting new places. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in the studio welcoming Dr. Rikofe, who is here with us. And you're welcome, Doctor.
Thank you, Dr. Susan. It is always a pleasure to be with you. It is always a pleasure to discuss with you. It is always a pleasure to work with you. You are such a woman of positive energy, and it's a pleasure doing this again with you. Nice to see you, Susan.
Ooh, now I feel like I can roll for the next 3 hours. Thank you so much for those kind words. I truly do appreciate them. Friends, Doctor is here, and today we are talking help. I am not a leader, and my boss is not leading. What is this all about? First of all, this is the leaders' world. What do? Our mission is to build, equip, train leaders for excellence in the marketplace and in the ministry. Today is another day for you to elevate your leadership, to upgrade your leadership, for you to put more tools into your tool bag as far as leadership is concerned. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back.
For your corporate and personal needs.
Leaders World Institute, changing lives, one leader at a time.
So, my question to you, Doctor, is when you saw this topic, help, I am not a leader and my boss is not leading. What were your first thoughts? What came into your mind?
That I can relate with that. I can relate with being in a situation or working in an organization where the leader is just existing, and because he's not really leading, he's dragging everybody around. There's low morale, there's low productivity. Everybody's doing what they want to do, and eventually things just fall apart. So, like I tell you, yes, I
Mm.
know this. I know that this topic is going to bite. Mhm.
Being in the leadership milieu, I have had trainings, and sometimes I meet people that would say, "Oh, I don't know if I'm a leader. I don't know if I am a leader." And if you're that type of a person, I want you to hang on, because this session is going to be answering some of those questions. And we also have leaders who have grown themselves, but at some point they realize that, is this all about it? Is there more to this? So today we are looking at those red flags of ineffective leadership, navigating and thriving in environments with unclear direction. And first of all, Is it okay for somebody to think that they have what it takes as a leader to move their teams to the next level in this age where we live?
Thank you so much for that lovely question, Dr. Susan. Of course, like Dr. John Maxwell will say, leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. That's leadership. If you are influencing someone, and I know that no matter how introverted you are influencing somebody in your life. Yes, you are a leader, whether at the family level, at the company level, at a ministry level, at your peer level, at the school level, you are influencing someone. And so, yes, to answer your question, it is right to think that anyone on earth has the potential to lead.
Now, the next question is to just cut the chase and go right there. What are those red flags of ineffective leadership that you have experienced in your own leadership, or maybe you have just witnessed around you? And what can we do about
Mhm.
those?
Mm. Thank you so much for that. Yes. So some red flags of ineffective leadership include micromanagement. When a leader begins to constantly over his team, second guess their decisions, not trust their employees, that is a red flag of ineffective leadership. Where you need to always monitor every step your team members take, that is an ineffect. That's a red flag. Second red flag is poor communication, where there is inconsistent, unclear, or infrequent communication from the leader to the team. That is a red flag. There is also lack of empathy, lack of emotional intelligence, where a leader fails to understand or consider the personal circumstances or emotions of the team members. That is a red flag. That is a red flag. And then you have no vision or direction. Uh, it's Theodore Hesburgh that said that the very essence of leadership is that you have a vision. When a leader lacks no vision or direction, that is a red flag. That kind of leader is going to cause. These are when you think about these, and I know that your listeners, as I call these red flags, they will begin to think. If you have ever worked with a leader that has no vision or direction, you are just going nowhere fast. Another one is avoiding accountability. When a leader likes to deflect blame and fails to take responsibility for their decisions or their team's performance, that is a red flag of ineffective leadership. Another one I would just share quickly is playing favorites. A leader is supposed to build unity within the team. But when a leader begins to show preferential treatment to certain employees, that is a red flag. That leader is not interested in leading, is interested in dividing the team. And let me just say this last one because there's so many of them. Another one is inability to delegate. All right. When a leader likes to, this is an extension of micromanagement. When a leader likes to do everything by himself, because in his head he thinks that nobody would do it perfectly like I do. That is a red flag of ineffective leadership. Dr. Susan, would you would you want me to would you want me to go further into the other ones, or I can just pause here and let me hear what you have to say from
That's a lot already. That's a lot. If you have your notebook and you're taking down the notes, this is meant to help you refine your leadership and to grow to your next level as a leader, no matter where you are right now on a scale of 1 to
here.
10. You may be a 9 on 10, you may be an 8 on
Hmm.
10, you may be a 2 on 10. Wheresoever you are in your leadership, there is always room for growth, there is always room for refinement. So the more of these red flags
True.
that you notice tells you that you have a lot of room for growth. All right. So you want to take note of all of these because it's meant for you to grow. Now, what are those strategies that the leader could employ to help themselves if they identify themselves in one of these ways of leading, and they discover, oh, I think I do this a lot? First of all, how do you even know? They say it's difficult to see yourself when you are in the frame. How can a leader assess themselves to even know that they are demonstrating these red flags?
Beautiful. Thank you so much for that lovely question. The starting point is, first, one way to do this is to, and that is if the leader would want to do this, is to have a candid conversation with your team.
Mm,
Ask them for their feedback. That's the starting point. Ask them for their feedback. Uh, because that's one way to protect yourself from blind spots. You only see what you want to see. But there are people, the people who you work with, they know you better than you. They sometimes see, or let me put it this way, they see your blind spots. So one way
mm,
to gauge yourself as a leader is to get feedback from your team. Another way to do this is to check what we call the KPIs, key performance indicators. All right.
mm,
So, for instance, if you have KPIs in your company, if your team consistently doesn't hit those KPIs, it may be a problem of leadership. It may be a
mm.
problem of leadership. Maybe they don't hit their targets. Another indicator, another thing to use to check if your leadership is good is team engagement. Are your
Okay.
team members really engaged? Or are they the type of persons who are always singing TGIF every Thursday or every Friday morning? They're always looking forward to check it out. Another thing is team morale.
Mm,
How enthusiastic is your team? Because at
mm,
the end of the day, your team, the team is always an extension of the leader. If you want to know how a leader is doing, look at the team. All right. If the team is enthusiastic, because the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, the team is always going to mirror the leader. So I will advise that leader, speak with your leadership, speak with people who can, tell the truth, check your KPIs, check the team morale, check your team engagement. And the last thing you want to do is have mentors, have people who are ahead of you, people,
mm.
accountability partners, people who can speak the truth into your life. Because your team members may be afraid to tell you the truth, but speak to people who are ahead of you who can tell you the truth. So these are some ways as a leader that I would want to check if I'm doing a good job.
Wow.
Thank you, Dr.
Listen,
Susan.
if you're here with us, Doctor is doing so good. You want to put in the chat, leadership is my business. So Doctor can know you're here. Please put in the chat for us, leadership is my business. Leadership is my business. Leadership is my business. Let's just go ahead and do that in the chat. And the next question that I'd love to ask is, um, so if someone notices that their leader or their boss is demonstrating some of these ways of leading, how can those people help themselves and help their leader? How can those people help themselves and help their leader? We are assuming that they really love the organization, they love the vision, and they actually want to stay there and be of help. How can they go about this?
Oh, that thank you for that lovely question. Yes, yes. There are situations like that where the person who is leading you is not doing his work. You don't want to leave the organization, but then you still need to move. All right, beautiful. So first thing you want to do is, and I'm going to be swinging it both ways. So, in helping the leader, you are actually helping yourself. Clarify expectations. Sometimes ask your leader, you know, well, you ask them tactfully, ask them questions to gain clarity on immediate goals. So, for instance, you can ask the leader, what are the most important objectives for this quarter? Questions like this can help a leader, begin to think progressively. Maybe they were all over the place. So what are the most important objectives for this quarter? You can you clarify expectations. That will help your leader to begin to think in terms of vision and direction. Another
Mm,
thing I will advise such an employee is to take the initiative, proactively plan out a strategy, take the initiative within the confines of your responsibility. So
right.
you can plan out a strategy based on your understanding of your organization's goals. If you head a team in the organization, you can propose project milestones or KPIs, and then so that your team can have something concrete to work with, and all the while present it to the leader. The third thing you want to do is to lead upward. In John
Mm,
Maxwell's book, The 360-Degree Leader, he talked about three angles through which we lead. We influence upwards, which is the people who are higher up. We
yes.
influence laterally, which are your peers in the organization. We
Yes.
influence downwards, which is the people that you lead. So
Yes.
you want to lead upward. In that case, if the employee is working with a leader who is not engaged, so suggest to that leader ideas. By leading upward, I mean suggesting ideas to the leader, asking them strategic questions, gently guiding them towards clearer decisions. Because again, he's still your leader, he's your boss. So lead upward is the third thing. The fourth thing you want to do is to build a team consensus. So if your boss is unclear what to do, you can discuss with your team and then get in what the goal or the plan of the organization should be, and again present it to your leader. Fifth thing I want to share with you quickly is that you should focus on what you can control. Again, shift your focus towards aspects of your role that you can control. Don't get yourself so disturbed by the fact that the leader is not doing what they are supposed to do. The
Mm.
responsibility have been given, give high quality work. Focus on delivering high quality work, on supporting your team. You also want to check in regularly with the leader. As I said, I'm swinging between the two of them. So you are helping the leader and at the same time
Yes.
helping yourself. Checking with the leader as you make progress with your team. Tell the leader, okay, this is what we have done. This is the plans that we have. Does it align with the general goal of the organization? All right, those are things you want to do. I also will advise that you should document everything. Whatever that leader tells you, put it in writing, send it to an email so that tomorrow somebody doesn't come and accuse you of doing something that you were not asked to do. Okay, and of course you want to stay positive and flexible, be adaptable, maintain a positive attitude. Say is, and this is particularly for the employee, work on yourself, invest in your development. Don't let don't let the nonchalant attitude of your leader stop you from growing, because at the end of the day, growth is intentional and growth is a personal decision. So invest in yourself, invest in your personal development. I've said. Thank you so much, Dr. Susan.
Oh, wow, wow, wow. So, Doctor has been throwing gems all over the place. I don't know which ones you took down, but I have been writing a lot. I've been taking down a lot of notes. And I like how Doctor talked about you delivering high quality products, you actually ensuring that your own work is of very high quality. I love that part. And it talked about clarifying expectations with your leader so that you actually know the immediate goals of the organization, so that you ensure that you are actually of a person of value no matter what is happening in the organization where you are. And I like how he talked about keep investing in yourself and don't let the environment stop you from investing in yourself and growing and keeping that positive attitude that always takes on intentional growth and adaptability. I love it. I love it. I love it. So which one do you think actually speaks to you a lot? And if you have other ideas that Doctor did not mention, hey, go ahead, put them in the chat. We are here to learn from one another as well. My question to you, Doctor, is do you see, do you perceive, do you observe that there are certain leadership styles that are prone to these ineffective traits, leadership traits, or is it what has been your observation?
Beautiful question. Thank you so much, Dr. Susan. Well, there are different types of leadership, and the different leadership styles, there are different situations that call for different leadership styles. I'll just do a quick run of all different types of leadership that I know. Um, but the point I want to start with is it's at the end of the day, it comes down to the leader itself. The leader could make or break the style. So very quickly, you have autocratic leadership, all right, where the leader makes the decisions and expect that the followers are going to do whatever he says you should do. You
Right.
typically see this most of the times in the military. You have leadership, which happens in countries where the leader involves team members. You have transformational leadership where the leader inspires and motivates the team. You have transactional leadership where the leader, has structures and leads people by using rewards or punishments. You have laissez-faire leadership where the leader has a hands-off approach, allowing team members to make decisions and manage their own work. You have servant leadership where the leader prioritizes the needs of the people. You have charismatic leadership where the leader relies on personal charm and you have situational leadership where the leader adapts their style to the situation and the needs of the team. You have coaching type of leadership. You have bureaucratic leadership as well. Now, based on my experience, again, they all have their pluses and minuses, but based on my experience, some of the leadership styles that could lead to problems, especially when you rely on them too much, include autocratic leadership, where you are always making decisions and you don't want input from your team members. You end up being surrounded, like someone once said, when the leader doesn't listen to what his team has to say, he eventually is surrounded by people who don't have anything to say. And that is a dangerous place to be. I say it again, when the leader doesn't listen to what his people have to say, he ends up being surrounded by people who don't have anything to say. All right, so autocratic leadership is one leader type of leadership. If you rely on it heavily, there are times to be autocratic, but if you do it, if that is your consistent style, you end up being surrounded by yes men who don't show you your purpose. Another type of leadership that could be problematic is the transactional leadership, where you lead people using rewards and punishments. Now, if that is a consistent way of leading, you end up creating a situation where relationships are not built. Your people only deal with you on a transactional level. If you ask them to do something extra, you won't find them. And leadership comes down to relationship because you cannot influence people easily without having a genuine relationship with them. Another type of leadership that may have issues if you rely heavily on it is the laissez faire leadership, that kind of leadership where the leader takes a hands-off approach and allows team members to make decisions and manage their own work. Typically, you find this in some creative companies. But the problem with that type of leadership, especially again, if that is done for a long period of time, is that eventually, even though you are promoting autonomy and creativity as a leader, you have the
Mm.
situation where there will be lack of direction and accountability, and everybody is doing what they're supposed to be doing. All right. And of course, the last one I want to touch on is the bureaucratic kind of leadership, where the leader adheres strictly to rules and procedures. Those kind of leaders, you have to stick to the rules. And the problem with that kind of leadership is in this day and age where things are rapidly changing, that kind of those companies they risk being eliminated if you always want to stick to rules and procedures and you are not open to
Wow.
change. So those are some of
Wow.
the points I will share.
So if I got you, doctor, what you're saying is, oh, by the way, guys, look here. This is multidimensional leadership. It's a book that I co-authored, and if all
Beautiful.
what doctor has been saying has been boggling your mind, you're like, oh my goodness, he's going so fast, he's going so fast, come back and watch this. But you can also write book in the chat and let us know that you want your copy, because we have all those leadership styles in this book, and then we help you to find
Beautiful.
tools to help yourself no matter where you are in your leadership journey. So this is multidimensional leadership. You can put book in the chat and it's going to help you. Thank you, doctor, for bringing that. So what you've been saying is every type of leadership has its pros and it has its cons. So, which one would you
Yeah.
say is a preferred leadership style that, oh, no matter what our default, no matter what our default is, maybe I am the autocratic leader because maybe my personality just goes towards that.
Oh my
What, like, what do you think? Am I
god.
putting you in a corner? Which one would you say is
No,
the
no, no,
preferred?
no, not at all.
Which one would you say is the? Go ahead,
I
Doc.
have a bias. I have a bias for transformational leadership. Because um, transformational leadership encompasses impact leadership. Transformational leadership touches charismatic. The reason why I love transformational leadership is because with transformational leadership, the leader inspires and motivates the team towards a shared vision, focusing on personal and professional growth. So, transformational leadership kind of embodies the other good types of leadership, like leadership, impact leadership, coaching leadership. All right, so that's my go-to. That's my go-to, my bias. That's my
So,
baby.
so
Transformational leadership. Let me put it there.
doctor is telling us if you want to actually take your leadership to the next level, go study about transformational leadership. go study about transformational leadership. Listen, if you have questions, put them in the chat because this time is running by fast. Okay, it's running by fast. Put your questions in the chat because Doctor is here and he came ready. He came prepared. If you have a contribution, put it in the chat as well, and we're gonna highlight your contribution and your comments. But please, by all means, let Doctor know your question. Doctor, before we continue, you brought this up. You said there is a lot of autocratic leadership being demonstrated in the ministry. Whatever that meant, Doctor, what did you mean by that? Do you want to elaborate more on that? Because okay, listen, you started it. You started it. You mentioned it. I did not say anything about that. You did. Okay, we exist. Leaders will exist to build, equip, and train leaders for the marketplace and for the ministry. And you say people in the ministry are very prone to autocratic leadership. Sir, what did you mean? And where do we go to from here?
I did. Okay, well, actually, I said military, but for some funny reasons, it came out as ministry. But anyways, the truth about the matter is both of them swing. I mean, in some ministerial settings, the head of the church is the one who hears from God, and it is expected that he's always hearing all the time, and he can never ever make mistakes. Those kind of bad cultural conditioning. Meanwhile, Moses needed the advice of his father-in-law Jethro. Otherwise, he would have died a
Mm,
premature death inside that. So the way the ministry is set up, it's set up in such a way that the leader is the one to hear from God. And many a times people take what he says as the word of God, even when he may not be saying what is in the Bible. People take it. I mean, there are so many places in the world. Let's not go deep into that before I will get myself another question from Dr. Susan. There are places in the world where the leader gives instructions that are not biblical, and the people just have to follow through because of the setting. It's autocratic. Again, it is designed in such a way that if you even challenge them, it will look as though you are challenging their authority. And so, yes, in many ministries, and it's very wrong, autocratic leadership is practiced. Even Jesus, Jesus who is all in all, from time to time he asks the disciples questions. Even when they didn't know, he still asked, where do we get food to feed these 5,000 people? What do you think? All right, where do we get this? So it's common, and it's one of the reasons why some ministries are dying today. Because when you have that setting, when your people tell you things, it's a recipe for downfall. They will watch you tell anything.
wow,
So
wow, wow,
yes,
wow.
Dr. Susan,
So
in
thank,
ministries.
thank you so much. Thank you so much. If you're a leader in ministry and this is something that you've been thinking about, you've been reflecting on, we are here to support you. We are here to help in with all the resources and tools that we have. Doctor is an executive coach with the leadership. With the John Maxwell leadership team. I am a certified coach as well with the leadership team. We are here and we have tons of resources to coach and to help. Please reach out. We'll be glad to support you on your journey of growth. One thing you said, Doc, you said it's all about relationships. It's all about relationships. Like, wait, is that how easy this thing is? Can you tell us more about leadership just being about relationships?
Thank you so much, Dr. Susan. I'm having a wonderful time with you. Let me tell you a secret. I hope everybody doesn't hear that. All right. This is
That was just
leadership.
you and I. Nobody
Leadership
heard it.
is, yeah, I hear it. Leadership is influence. That is why again, anybody, everybody is a potential leader. It's just that some of us don't develop it, or many people don't develop it.
Mm,
And leadership, you can't go very far. I'll come to the question. You can't go very far without leadership development, because at some life you are going to need people to push your vision forward. And when you need people, then you will know how important leadership is. So I will advise you not to wait till that time. Now, back to your question, leadership is influence. And where do you cultivate influence? It's in relationships, relating with people, getting to know them for who they are, getting
Yes.
to understand them, because you are not, maybe in the future we may start dealing with robots. I don't know the way AI and robotic thing is going, but for now we are still working with human beings. And while we are working with human beings, you need to relate with your people. Trust me, as a leader, if you have a genuine relationship with your people, they will go over and beyond for you. I've been in organizations where people stay late hours just to get things done, not because it is convenient, but because the leader has bought into them. I think it was, I heard it from Dr. John Maxwell, but I think it was somebody else who said this, that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And
Right.
once you can communicate that you are genuinely interested and invested in your people, which is where relationships come in. You care about them, you ask how they're doing, you ask about their families because they are not living in isolation. When they are in trouble, you go, you do the best you can do to help them solve their crisis. Trust me, you they will yes, or once you say let's turn left, the whole country, the whole company is going to turn left with you. So that's
Right.
what I
Right.
mean by you. The leadership is relationship. That thing is just built upon it. Mhm.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you so much for bringing that. I remember one of the trainings that we had, one of the participants asked the question. He said, why is it that in Africa, every time a leader leaves the position, everybody is immediately looking to impeach them, to send them to prison? Why is it that once they leave their positions, everybody is looking to put them behind bars, to put them in jail? What is the problem with the
Oh
leadership in
my
Africa?
God.
What would you answer as a possible reason
Oh
for this,
my
these situations?
God. I wish that they will even put them in jail while they are still in power. They should stop waiting for them to finish, because sometimes some of them finish the power, but then they are finished, they have finished the country. So if we could even take them out while they are still there, that would be very great.
Mm, mm, mm,
Be
mm,
very
mm,
great. But
mm.
African leadership is I believe all African leaders, they need a revival. They need it's all leaders, majority of them, let me speak for myself. Majority of my leaders are thieves. That's it. They are not there to lead the country. They are there to lead themselves. And that is why they steal and keep stealing until they leave the office. And by the time they leave, like it's and by the way, leadership in my country, Nigeria, is one of the reasons why I am very passionate about leadership,
Yes.
because I have other reasons, but that is one of the foundation. It's a pain point
Mm,
because my country is an example of what bad leadership can do. For those of you who think leadership is not important, when your leader where they are going to, when your leader is selfish and self-centered, you have a living in abundance, but you look like a poverty-stricken personality. That is how bad leaders, that's how terrible bad leadership can deal with
mm,
people. So to answer your question, my answer is I wish none of them even get to power in the first place. Or
mm.
when they start stealing, you get them out. But this finishing of tenure is a different thing. You don't even
It,
finish their
it,
tenure
it,
so that they
it,
don't
it,
destroy the country completely.
You know what? Doctor just touched a pain point. And I think at this point, we're gonna take a little break and just digest some of this. You can put in the chat hashtag the leaders world, hashtag the leaders world, just to let us know you're here. Or you can put leadership is my business. Once again, do that. If you're reaffirming that leadership is your business, put that in the chat, and we'll be right back.
For your corporate and personal needs.
Leaders World Institute, changing lives, one leader at a time.
Welcome again, everyone. This is the Leaders World, and as Leaders World, our mission is to build, equip, train leaders for the marketplace and for the ministry, and that is what we exist for. Today, we are talking on something that is really, really important, and our topic is help. I am not a leader, and my boss is not leading. And we have with us the phenomenal Dr. Rukebwe, who is here with us. He is a coach, he is a trainer, and he is passionate about leadership and personal development. He is here with us today. Doctor, I have a question. My question is, what are some common misconceptions which keep people from removing the ceiling on their own leadership and stepping up to those higher places in leadership?
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Yes, there are so many misconceptions about leadership. The first one is that leaders are not made. There are people who have that misconception. Assume that leadership skills are innate and cannot be developed. That is a misconception. That is a myth, because even with innate ability, you need development. You need development. Leaders are actually made. Yes, there are people who are born with certain leadership skills like empathy and communication, but for the most part, leadership is developed. You can learn how to be emotionally intelligent. You can learn how to communicate. You can learn how to create a vision. You can learn how to delegate. These things are learnable. So yes, that is one myth. The second myth is, or yeah, the second myth is that leadership requires authority. There are people who believe, so which ties into the topic, your topic for today, that you need formal authority or a title to lead effectively. The truth about the matter is that you don't. Leadership is demonstrated through influence and actions, not just positions. I don't know if you have experienced this before, but I've been in a situation where the leader is not the person who has influence. The leader is
Mm,
just a head. The leader is just a head. He's a figurehead. When the person who has influence is there, and usually the person who has influence is the one that everybody listens to. The leader can
mm.
say all he wants to say, and they will argue with the leader. But once that person speaks, everybody says yes. All right. So leadership is, you don't need, I say it again, you don't need a formal position for you to be a leader in your
Mm.
company where you are, because leadership is, just begin to cultivate your influence with the people that you work with, develop your relationship. Another myth very quickly is that leaders must have all the answers. I am a leader. I don't have all the answers. And I am proud that I don't have all the answers for you. All right. Leaders don't know everything. Effective leaders, on the other hand, and this is the reality, effective leaders consult with their team, because no man is an island of knowledge. Effective leaders consult with their team. How can you expect to know everything? Like, excuse you, are you Google? You don't know everything. Okay, even Google, there are things Google doesn't know. If I ask Google where is the location of my village, Google cannot tell me.
Oh
Are we
no,
together?
you didn't say that about Google.
Stop thinking that. Don't ask me question about Google. Maybe not. So you must not have all the answers. Leaders don't. You don't need to know everything, but you need to know how to get answers from your team. You need to know how to seek their input. You need to know how to facilitate problem solving. Another myth, very quickly, is that leadership is about power. Some people believe that leadership is about exerting control and power over others, and we see this in quote unquote African leaders, exerting control and power over others. In reality, true leadership involves empowering and inspiring others to achieve common goals. All right, that is what leadership is. Leadership is not about exerting control and power over others. And guess what? When you empower and inspire others, you easily control them, even without asking. Okay, because you are people will resonate more with you when you help them solve their problems, when you help them become better in life. Okay,
Mm, mm.
next myth very quickly is that leaders must be extroverted. There are people who think that if you are an introvert, you will not ever make a good leader. That's a lie. Oh. You can be a very perfect leader as an introvert. You don't need to be all over the place. Okay, you don't need to be extrovert. There are extroverted leaders that are problem. They are time bombs. They cause problems. Okay, so even as an introvert, there are things that you can do. Leadership comes in many forms, and introvert can effectively lead through thoughtful communication. Very next, have two more. Leadership means there's this myth that says that leadership means doing everything yourself. So people think that when you're in a leadership position, you must do everything yourself. That is wrong. A good leader is not again. If you are a leader and you are doing everything by yourself and your team just stands and stares at you, you are ineffective. You are not growing them, you are not giving them chance to get better, and you are going to burn out on a daily basis. Okay. And then Leadership, there are those who believe that leaders are always confident. That again is not true. Leaders are not always confident. A good leader can be vulnerable, can tell you that I'm tired, can tell you that I failed. All right, we are not always confident. You should be able to tell people what you're going through. All right. Let me just give you one more. Leaders are always charismatic. Charisma is not the only essential ingredient of leadership.
Hmm.
Leadership effectiveness is a combination of empathy, integrity, competence. Okay, there are so many of them, but because of time, let me stop there. But yeah, those are the different needs.
Once again, um, okay, all right. Doctor has been throwing gems all over the place. I don't know which ones you have been writing down. Listen, you can come back on our YouTube channel, go to Leaders World Institute, and you're gonna watch this again. You can come back to this Facebook group, Facebook page, and you can watch it again. You can come back on this LinkedIn page and you can watch it again. All right, because I need to come back here. Like, there's just a lot for us to be able to digest it to the place where it's usable, where we can actually practicalize these gems. You have to come back. All right. So, oh, before I forget, send us stars. Okay, it helps us to keep this program going. It helps the viewership, it helps more people to know about this program. So send us stars, and you can send it a support on Zelle, you can send a support on Cash App, you can send us support. Okay, so I need to say this before I forget, because our team is going to ask me, you forgot to talk about the stars again. So I done my job. So send those stars, send those stars. So my question to you, Doc, is what are some practical
Susan.
strategies? What are some because sometimes, yeah, Doc, because sometimes I get caught up in enjoying the show and I forget about the stars.
I
And you're like,
know,
about the stars.
you
And
forget
I'm like,
it.
sorry, okay, I'm glad I did not forget this time. All right, what are some practical strategies for developing leadership skills? Practical strategies. We are looking at strategies which
Mm,
are time tested. We are looking at strategies that, whether you're beginning or you are a level 7, these strategies work for whoever will want them. What are some of these strategies that leaders
beautiful.
could actually employ to build their skills, to develop their skills, no matter where they are leading?
Mm, beautiful. Thank you so much for that question. The starting point is to believe in your leadership potential. That's the starting point. You need to believe that you have leadership potential and you can lead people effectively. Because
Mm,
without that mindset, every other thing I'm going to say is not going to matter to you. The second thing you want to do is to begin to invest in books, leadership books. Um, Leaders are readers. I say it again, leaders are readers. Because every smart leader knows that you will never live long enough to learn all the lessons by yourself in life. Reading shortens your learning curve, and
mm,
reading reduces the mistakes that you have to make. So invest in books, invest in personal development, get books, watch seminars, watch tape. Now more than ever before, this is the information age. If you are not building yourself, you have yourself to blame. Don't give that excuse of you don't have money. You can literally learn anything on YouTube today. I've said that
mm,
you can learn, there's nothing you cannot learn on YouTube. All right. If not for pharmacists, some people can even become dermatologists on YouTube because there's practically nothing that you cannot learn on YouTube. So just go watch something. Is do you have problem with public speaking? When you open your mouth to speak, even the dead they complain. Go and watch videos on public speaking. All right, you have a problem with learning how to plan or learning how to delegate. They are things to watch. You can watch them. All right, so invest. That's the second thing. Invest in personal development. The third thing is build your tribe. All right, get mentors in your life. There are so many mentors, and you don't have to have a physical meeting with them for them to be your mentor. They can mentor you through their books, they can mentor you through their teachings, they can mentor you through their videos. But have people in your life that you look up to, people in your life that can guide you in terms of leadership. All right. And a classic a yardstick for a leader you should follow. You can use this statement by Dr. John Maxwell. A leader is somebody who knows the way, who has gone the way, and who shows the way. So whoever
Mm,
you decide to be your mentor should be somebody who is willing to show you the way through their books and through their other stuff. Four is to network actively. All right. Meet with other leaders, reach out to other leaders. If you have teams, reach out to them. If you have meetings, go there. Lastly, and this is the last one, is volunteer for responsibilities.
mm.
All the information, all the knowledge you get in this world will benefit you nothing without execution. So you can read 20 books on leadership, have PhD from Harvard. If you never lead people, you will never grow. You will never develop. So look
Wow.
for opportunities. There are diverse leadership opportunities. It's just that you are
Wow.
looking for the one in oil and gas where they are paying you 20,000 US dollars every month. But if you want to volunteer to lead people in your community, in your neighborhood, in your church, I can assure you, you will get a leadership position today. All right. So you look for opportunities to volunteer. Thank you so much.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. So, doctor has been talking and he said, first of all, you have to have the leadership mindset. Okay. For, doctor, what is a leadership mindset though?
A leadership mindset is I to lead people. I have what it takes to influence lives. I have what it takes to make people better. That is the leadership mindset. All right. So that's pretty much what it is. It's you don't have to have a PhD degree. You don't have to have attended Harvard. You don't have to have 20 years experience. It's just that you genuinely care about people to help them. That is the leadership mindset. That's where leadership starts from. There's not every other thing is just on top of it.
Wow, wow. Doc, we are running down to the last maybe a few minutes of our show. Um, let's say someone
So,
is struggling in a new role, in a new responsibility, in a new project that, something they've never done before because it's something that's bigger than what they had done before. So they don't have all that experience in it. Maybe it's in the coaching industry, maybe it's in whatever capacity. And then they are struggling with maybe, oh, am I really what I say I am? The imposter syndrome. And it's like, maybe you're not. Maybe you should have 50 years experience before you can be bold and confident in what you're doing. How can we coach or approach that situation to help any viewer, any listener that comes across this show?
oh, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for that. Yes, imposter syndrome is something that afflicts every one of us, including me. Okay, whenever you are asked to do something for the first time, um, you are always going to have to deal with that. Okay, you are asked, even speaking, you have been looking for a speaking responsibility. All right, no problem. Now they have invited it. TEDx has invited you to come and speak in their stage adjustment. Trust me, if you have never spoken in TEDx before, you are going to hear that voice inside your head telling you, you are such a fraud. You don't know nothing. What do you think you know to go and share with people there? You're going to be talking to people who are 20 years ahead of you. It will be so loud. It will be so loud. So imposter syndrome is something that everybody has to deal with. Now, how do you handle this very quickly? The first thing is to acknowledge the feelings. Accept that the feeling of being an imposter is common, but it does not reflect your actual abilities. Everybody, including your superstars, have imposter syndrome. Number two, focus on your strengths. Use your skills. Focus on what you are good at. Remind yourself of your accomplishments and the skills that led you to your new role. Okay, so focus on your strengths. The third strategy is seek support. This is why, again, it's very important to have mentors in your life. Reach out to your mentors, reach out to your peers, and I'm pretty sure they will tell you what I'm telling you. But seek support. Someone who would encourage you and tell you it's normal. Just do it. Do it afraid. When they say do it afraid, why do you think they tell you to do it afraid? The fear there, one of the components of the fear is imposter syndrome. One of the causes of the fear is imposter syndrome. You are always going to just try to do a LinkedIn live event, and you will see you are going to hear that voice telling you you can't do this, you don't have anything to say, you are gibberish, you cannot, you would even start believing that you are a stammerer, you are slow of speech, like Moses told God, I'm slow. He wasn't slow of speech before God met him, but when God sent him to Egypt, suddenly he was slow of speech. Okay, so you're always going to have to deal with that. Are we together? So yeah, that the next one. Seek support. Four, set realistic goals. Avoid giving yourself too much things to do, because when you begin to set goals and you fail at those goals, then it reinforces the mindset that you are an imposter. So make sure that whatever goal it is you are setting for yourself, you break it down into manageable steps. Celebrate your success as you go. The next thing you want to do is embrace learning. Use that feeling of imposter syndrome to drive you to learn more. All right. So do you feel you are inequipped for the job you have been given? Why don't you spend your worry time on learning time? Make it your learning time. Understand what you need to understand, learn. The other thing you can do is to gather feedback. All right. Get feedback from people who you look up to. Another thing I want to quickly say, just because of our time, to practice self-compassion. Be kind to yourself. Treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer to others. Be kind to yourself. All right. If meet you now and tell you that they have imposter syndrome, you and tell them, don't worry, it's okay, blah blah blah. Tell yourself that, or be kind to yourself. Okay. Keep a track of your successes, and lastly, challenge negative thoughts. Reframe your thinking. Affirm yourself. Self-doubt with positive affirmations and focus on your strengths. All right. So when that voice comes to tell you that you are not worth it, you are not able, you are not capable, you are going to fail, you are just a fraud, tell yourself, I believe I can do it. I believe I am able. I believe I am up to the task. I believe I will do a good job because I have done a good job in the past. Okay. So let me leave it at that.
Okay. All right. I believe that Doctor is influencing me a lot right now. Can you put influence in the chat for me, please? Can everybody just put influence, influence, influence all over the place? Like, I need to have like 50 influences. Like, if you want to write it many times, influence, submit, influence, send. Do that because, oh my goodness, this place is charged. It is charged with positive influence. Thank you so much, Doctor. Thank you so much. There
Thank
is
you,
a lot
Susan.
there is a lot that we yes, influence, guys, influence. This is it, right? This is what we're talking about. Doctor says you have to acknowledge your feelings. Remember that those feelings don't define you. um, they don't define you. He says focus on your strengths, because hey, how did you get there in the first place? It's because there are strengths that you demonstrated. So focus on those strengths.
Mhm.
Okay, but go ahead and set realistic goals and embrace learning. He said something that I love. I've never heard anybody say it that way. He said spend your worry time on learning time. Guys, did you hear that? He said spend your worry time on learning time. And this is for people who are ready to take that next big job, people who are ready to take that next big business, people who are ready to open that multi-million dollar engagement. This is for those people.
Amen.
Spend on the learning time and practice self-compassion. Come on, come on. The way I used to do it is I imagine that, if somebody I love came to tell me that they are going through this, what would I tell them? And then I go ahead and tell myself that.
Mhm.
Okay, be your own nice auntie, okay?
Beautiful.
Don't be waiting for no nice auntie nowhere,
Yeah,
because hey, you can be your own nice
of
auntie to
course.
yourself.
Of
I mean,
course.
the ladies at the Excelling Ladies Boot Camp, they know I talk about this a lot, and self-affirmations. Oh, by the way, if you've not registered for the Excelling Ladies Boot Camp, you want to write you have to be a lady. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. You have to be a lady. Put in the chat boot camp, boot camp, boot camp.
Ouch.
And I can
Ouch.
do
Ouch.
sorry about that. Sorry about that. Okay. The ladies, put in the chat boot camp, and I'll reach out to you with more information. Doctor, you also talked about mentoring and coaching, and you talked about, how there is a lot online. I am a testament. There is a lot that I learned from online, a lot, a lot, a lot. All right. For the past how
Mhm.
many years I have embarked on developing myself and just, taking off the limits from myself as much as I can on a daily basis. And yes, it's true. Whatever you need, you can find the free stuff.
Beautiful.
But you know what? Free only has its limits as well. So there is stuff that you have to pay for you to go to another. Come on, Doc. We need to tell them the whole truth, right? We need to tell them the whole truth. Yeah, there is other
Of
stuff
course,
that
of course.
you.
But let them start.
Yeah, you can. Oh, definitely go ahead and start with the free stuff. But I tell you, there is another place where, oh, for you to get into the crux of the three disciples, oh yeah, you would need to do something other than just being in the
Definitely,
5,000 that eat
definitely.
the free bread and fish. Oh, this is powerful, Doctor. This is so so powerful. We are running down to the close, and I don't even know where to close, right? I don't know where to close. I don't know where to close. Doctor, can you just speak from your heart? Can you just speak from your heart? Our topic is help. I am not a leader and my boss is not leading. And we've been looking at, those practical strategies for leading. And can you just speak from your heart? There are listeners that are going to come here to just watch because they saw Doctor on the show. There are people that are going to meet you for the first time because they watched this episode. Can you just speak to them from your heart? Just take your time and let it out to our audiences.
Yeah, and there are people who came because Susan is such a vibe. She is a bag of positive energy by herself. Yes. Well, thank you, Susan, for that. I just want to rebuttress this fact. You are a leader. You are not trying to be because you influence someone. And so you owe it to yourself to develop yourself. It is because people think that position is what makes you a leader. That is why they keep waiting and wasting time. You are a leader already. You have inside you. Develop it. Develop it even if you are not planning to own a $5 billion industry. Develop it because you are going to work with people, whether at the school, whether in your school, place, at your job, or even if you don't go to these places, in your family, because leadership cuts across every walk of life. Have you seen that disarray? Look at the head of the family, look at the father, because that is where the thing starts from. Leadership is always starting from the head. You cannot have parents who are wayward giving birth to response or raising responsible children. It starts with the head. If the father develops himself as a father, as a husband, he is going to be an excellent coach to his wife, to his children. So develop yourself. Stop giving excuses. Stop telling yourself you are not able to do this. You can. You can do whatever you set your mind to do. This is not some new age teaching. It's even what Jesus said. To him who believes all things are possible. Napoleon Hill says that whatsoever the mind of man can conceive and believe, that it can achieve. So I just want to encourage you, start today. Don't wait tomorrow. Dr. Susan has leadership resources, has the boot camp for ladies. Probably I will talk to Dr. Raf to have boot camp for men because that looks like very, very whatever. So let me leave it at that. But invest in yourself. Invest in yourself. You talked about a multi-dimensional book on leadership. Get it. Do something. Invest in yourself. Don't do it for yourself. When you invest in yourself as a leader, you're not just doing it for you. You are doing it for the people who are going to look up to you, who are going to depend on you. Because no matter how introverted you are, there is somebody who is going to look up. Take it from me. Everybody influences somebody, and you are influenced by somebody else. So do it for the people who are going to depend upon you to get to where they trust me, the blessings are numerous. Let me end it there.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that has been Dr. Rukev. We're talking with us on help. I am not a leader and my boss is not leading. At Leaders World, we build, equip, and train leaders for the marketplace and for the ministry. And that is why we bring these resources to ensure that every day you have resources that can take you to the next level of your dreams. Thank you so much for being here with us. Our friends on LinkedIn, we are saying thank you. Our friends on Facebook, we are saying thank you. Our friends on YouTube, we are saying thank you so much for joining us on this show. And it is on that note that we are going to call it a day for today. Do not forget that everything rises and falls on leadership. And yes, leadership is influence, and yes, you have all it takes to lead. There is somebody who's waiting to hear your voice. There's somebody who is waiting to hear you stand up and lead. So you can put in the chat as well, I am that leader for my generation. Can we do that? I am that leader for my generation. And we'll see you in the next episode.
For your corporate and personal needs.
Leaders World Institute, changing lives, one leader at a time.